Paula Roy's Favorite Foods is made possible with the help of Farm Boy. It's all about the food.
Like many people, my love of cooking began at a very young age with baking. Over the years, I've made a lot of elaborate sweet treats, but today I'm going to show you 3 recipes that deliver maximum flavor with minimal effort. Our first dessert today is a really neat twist on a classic, which is called pavlova, which is a fancy name for meringues. I've made these for years, often in a large format that you cut into pieces and serve at the table. It never goes well, it's always messy. So I've decided to try a mini version, and to make it even better, we're going to cook it in the air fryer. Normally you put it in a hot oven, which you turn off and leave it there for a couple hours, so it takes a long time. They're ready in just 20 minutes in the air fryer, so it's pretty great. So we're going to start with 1 egg white. And we're going to whip that until it's frothy, and then we're going to add in a few more things, which we'll get ready now. I've got some white sugar, adding a little cornstarch, and just a pinch of salt, and we'll stir that together. And the reason for combining it is that the sugar helps to keep the cornstarch from clumping, so it's more evenly distributed. We've also got a little bit of white vinegar to add and some vanilla for flavor. The vinegar helps to give the meringue better structure so that it doesn't collapse. I didn't know until recently what it was there for. I just knew that it was a part of the classic recipe. So I'm going to get started beating these. You could whisk it if you've got a really strong arm. You could use a stand mixer, although the quantity is so small, that's why I like a handheld mixer. And you'll notice this one by KitchenAid is cordless. I really love that for ease. I've taken this thing camping. It's so convenient. So here we go. And we're just watching for it to start to get a bit more frothy than this and starting to turn white. And then we'll start adding in our sugar, just gradually, our sugar mixture. It only takes a few minutes to whip up. And pavlovas can be made up to 48 hours in advance. Once they're cooked and cooled, you can put them in an airtight container. And they're really versatile. I've seen people put all kinds of things in them. The classic preparation is to add whipped cream and fresh fruit, which is what we're going to do today. I've seen people put ice cream in them. I saw one with chocolate pudding, which I thought was a bit strange, and then I tried it and it was great. And we're looking for our egg whites to beat up to stiff peaks, which means when you lift the beaters out, the little peaks that form don't flop over. So now all our sugar's in there. The air fryer version makes 2 single serving portions, or you can even make 4 minis if you want. You could cook them in batches if you wanted to increase this recipe. And we'll just give it another test. Oh, it's getting there. They're not too floppy. So we're going to add in our vinegar and our vanilla. The vanilla gives them a little bit of a beige tint, and some purists suggest that you need to use white vanilla if you don't want that to happen. I don't mind the color. This is a really great dessert to make with kids if you're looking for something that gives them pretty quick satisfaction. A lot of kids start with cookies or brownies, but this kind of is a bit more elegant, and kids are getting so savvy from watching food shows on TV that I think they'd be pretty pleased to serve this up. All right, I'm just going to check it again. Nope, it flopped over a little bit, but the other way to check is with a knife. If you cut through the mixture, it should hold the trench or trough that you make. And it is doing that, so we're good. So I'm just going to clean off the beaters here. All right. And now we're going to shape our pavlovas. So there's two ways to do this. We're going to make the little nests, I call them, on these parchment squares. You can, if you wish, transfer the whipped egg whites and the other ingredients into a Ziploc bag and then close it and snip the corner off and use it as a piping bag. But I'm going to just freestyle it today to show you that it's pretty easy to do that as well, and it just saves one more step. So I've cut these squares of parchment. This gives you a base to build on, and it makes it easier to transfer into the air fryer. So we're going to start by making a circle-ish shape. These don't need to be precise at all. Probably about 3 inches or so. I love how glossy the egg whites look. Just, you can tell it's going to be something delicious when it's baked. All right, and now we're going to build up the sides to make that nest shape I referred to, and that will help hold in our whipped cream and our berries. So I'm just adding more on. You can see I'm just building up the sides like that. And I usually work on both at the same time so that the mixture gets distributed fairly evenly. Another thing I like about this dessert is that it's not too sweet, and a lot of people appreciate that these days. My husband calls this a fluffy, not stuffy dessert, because after a big meal, you can still enjoy the sweet taste, but it doesn't feel heavy. Okay, and we'll just give the bowl a little scrape to finish off. Perfect. So now you can see we've got our 2 little nests. So we're going to open up the air fryer, and we're just going to carefully lift them in and make sure that they're separated so they're not touching each other. Okay, so in they go, and we're going to set it for 260 degrees. I tried a few different temperatures, and this seemed to be the optimal one. There we go. And the time will default to 20 minutes. So there we go. So we'll check back in once these are done in 20 minutes. Our pavlovas are ready. Look at them, aren't they perfect? I just love the way the nests turn out, and they're so free-form, it's great. So to finish them off, just a little bit of whipped cream, or a lot, depending on how much you like it. And then a couple of fresh berries to garnish. Kiwi fruit is a really popular fruit with pavlova. Sliced strawberries, really whatever you can get your hands on. There, I think that looks pretty good. So there we have it, 2 quick pavlovas that are sure to be appreciated. Coming up next, I'm going to show you just how easy and successful baked donuts can be, particularly in mini form. My recipe produces light and tasty little bites that have just the right amount of sugar and spice.
Welcome to Community News and Events on Rogers TV, Channel 22. I'm Josh Rackless. CHIO's RBC Race for the Kids is a lively family fundraising event that empowers participants to run, walk, or wheel in support of pediatric health care. On Sunday, October 5th at Wesley Clover Parks, you can take part in the 10K, 5K, or 2K accessible family fun run, complete with music, inflatables, and pet-friendly zones. The goal is to raise $500,000 to fund care, mental health programs, and advanced research at CHIO. Whether you register as a team, donate, or volunteer, all contributions directly support CHIO's mission. Lace up, engage your community, and help build a healthier future for your children and youth. To have your community news or events listed on our website, please go to rogerstv.com, click on events, and post your event. That's it.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Hello, I'm Liz Dowdswell, Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. In 2008, carbon monoxide, a deadly invisible gas, killed an entire family in our province. That tragedy led to a new law requiring homes with potential CO sources to have alarms. John Gignac's family members passed away that day, and he shares his story to save others.
Please make sure you have working CO alarms in your home. Protect your family today.
Paula Roy's Favorite Foods is made possible with the help of Farm Boy. It's all about the food.
I used to struggle with lining baking pans with parchment paper until I learned this amazing trick. Cut your sheet of parchment paper bigger than the size of your pan, run it under hot water, crumpling it up in a ball, shake it out, and then you can just drape it in your pan like it's a piece of fabric. No more origami needed to get it to fit into the corners. How easy is that? I love making little mini donut bites. For some reason, it feels like it's okay to have 3 or 4 because it's not really a full donut, right? So I'm going to show you how to make these wonderful little mini cinnamon cardamom donut bites. Try and say that 10 times fast. So very basic batter, like any donut. So we've got some flour here. I'm going to add some white sugar. We've got baking powder, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of baking soda, and that helps to give it a really fast rise since they're only in the oven for 9 minutes. So we'll give that a little stir to combine. Then we've got a mixture of cinnamon and cardamom. I really like the flavor of cardamom, and I buy the whole seeds and grind them myself. If you start to explore this flavor and really like it, I would recommend getting a grinder and just keeping it stocked, and then you'll find you're using it a lot more. Of course, you can make this with just cinnamon or even cinnamon and ginger if you like. So now we're going to get our wet ingredients ready. We've got half a cup of milk. You can use buttermilk or homemade buttermilk if you like. Melted butter. A little bit of vanilla for more flavor, and a beaten egg. And it's a good idea if the butter isn't scalding hot, otherwise it'll start to scramble the egg. All right, we're going to stir this in. Pretty straightforward batter, like I said. And you don't want to overmix it, just enough so that the dry ingredients are thoroughly moistened. And just check on the bottom to make sure you've got all the dry stuff picked up from the bottom. Okay, I think we're set. This is a fairly small batch recipe. You can obviously increase it, and you could bake them as full-sized muffin pan donuts if you like. Again, I just like the mini version myself. So the easiest way to fill our pre-greased pans is with a scoop. You can use 2 spoons if you prefer. I like to grease the pan so you get crispy edges on the donuts as opposed to using silicone paper liners. And this standard size cookie scoop is the perfect amount for each hole of the muffin pan. And we should get about 18, I'm thinking. Mini muffin pans are not very expensive, and I find that they're really useful. I have been buying good cooking gear, baking gear in particular, for my kids as gifts the last few years to replace their tortured university gear or even the inexpensive dollar store stuff they bought, because I find good gear really lasts forever. There we go. And probably about 6 more in here. You can see how fast it is with the scoop. And again, you don't have to worry about whether or not they're of equal size. Just give a little scrape to fill our scoop here. There we go. So we've got 18 compartments filled. We're going to pop these in the oven for just 9 or 10 minutes, and using a toothpick or a tester is the best way to determine if they're done. So we'll get them out in just a few minutes. Our donuts are out of the oven and they look just perfect. They smell really good too. So we're going to get them out of the muffin pan, and then we're going to dip them in butter and cinnamon and cardamom sugar. So we get a double whammy of my favorite spices. And yes, in case you're wondering, you could make pumpkin spice versions of this, but really pumpkin spice is just the same kind of warming spices: ginger, clove, cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom. But you can make whatever spice combo you like. These are still pretty hot, but they're coming out well. And you want to do the dipping while they're still warm so that the butter absorbs a little bit better. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. And we've got our melted butter here. We've also got some more cinnamon and cardamom, as I mentioned, so we'll stir that into the sugar. I actually keep a shaker of this mixture on hand. It's great to sprinkle on a latte, on French toast, pancakes, all kinds of things. All right, so we'll get a little assembly line going. So we're first into the butter, and we're really just going to try and dip sort of the top half or so, because we need something to hold on to. So dip and drip, and then just pat it into the sugar mixture, and you set it on the plate. The butter's not super hot, so this would be, again, a great fun thing for kids to get involved with. The donuts are pretty tender, so you have to hold them not too firmly, but I'm sure an eager child who wants to participate in cooking would have no problems. And of course, you could use non-dairy butter if that's your preference for both the donut recipe and for the dipping. And this would be great for non-dairy milk, and I haven't used flax eggs with this, but I can't see why they wouldn't be perfect as well. I'm doing this fairly quickly because, of course, we want to taste the donuts while they're still warm. They're great the next day, but I'm sorry, warm donut, can't beat it. Make a little more room on the plate here. See if we can fit the last two in. There we go. Our mini donut bites are ready to be devoured.
We hear often these days about the many health benefits of ginger, so it's always great to find a new way to incorporate it into dishes. The recipe I'm about to show you uses crystallized ginger as a delicious add-in for a traditional cookie. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Community News and Events on Rogers TV Channel 22. I'm Star Rahbar. The Ottawa Parent and Child Expo returns to the Nepean Sportsplex on October 18th and 19th. This family-friendly event offers a weekend filled with fun, learning, and entertainment for all ages. Highlights include meet and greet sessions with beloved characters like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and princesses from birthdaypartymagic.ca. Tickets are available online or at the door. For more details, visit parentsandchildexpo.ca. To have your community news or events listed on our website, please go to rogerstv.com. Click on Events and post your event. That's it.
Please welcome the Fantastic Four.
We do family dinner every week.
How's that sauce? Okay.
Your planet is marked for death.
We will protect you.
As a family.
Johnny, quit screwing around!
I tell you how to drive the ship, don't tell me how to kill sexy aliens!
Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four.
Are you a content creator looking to expand your audience and make your voice heard in your community? Rogers TV wants to provide you with a platform to share your hobbies, interests, and stories for free. Visit us to find out more.
Paula Roy's Favorite Foods is made possible with the help of Farm Boy. It's all about the food.
So our third recipe today is a personal favorite of mine. I love shortbread, and I don't know why people only think it's a holiday dessert. It's a year-round dessert in my opinion. I wanted to come up with a new version, and I decided to add in minced crystallized ginger, and let me tell you, it was a super idea. You can find it at most grocery stores. It's and also bulk stores and so on. Having trouble getting the bag open. It's sliced ginger that gets cooked in a sugar syrup, and then it's rolled in granulated sugar so the slices don't stick together. I like this package from Farm Boy because it's vacuum sealed and the ginger stays really fresh. So I've minced it up quite small. I'd say less than 1/4 of an inch, and we're going to add that in once we get our cookie dough established. So we're going to start by putting some white sugar into our stand mixer. You could do this with an electric hand mixer. It would be a lot of work with a spoon, but not impossible. And we've got some room temperature butter to add in. Now you'll notice that it doesn't include powdered sugar like a lot of shortbread recipes. This is the texture that I like for my shortbread. And then a little bit of salt. And we'll turn the mixer on and get it nicely creamed together. And you may have to stop it periodically just to get the butter detached from the paddle, which is what I'm going to do. A way to prevent that is to cut the butter pieces smaller, which I probably should have done. Once the sugar and butter are creaming nicely, I'm going to add in a little bit of vanilla. All right, so that's looking good. I'm just going to scrape the sides down, and then we're going to add in our flour. And shortbread being shortbread, we don't need to add any leavening. There's no egg, there's no baking powder, there's no baking soda, and that's just the way shortbread is. All right. So we're going to add in our flour. Hard to get that last little bit out. Just pull the bowl out a little. There we go. And then I'm going to hug the bowl to try and keep the flour from flying all over, but it probably will anyway. Not too bad. So we just keep an eye on it. We want to mix it until we can't see bits of flour visible anymore. Or can't see big bits of flour, I should say. It's still going to be a crumbly mixture. Again, that's shortbread. And now we're going to start to add in our ginger. This same base recipe would work really well without the ginger, or you could add in other interesting things like chocolate chips or toffee bits. It's just a really great basic shortbread recipe. All right, that's looking nice and crumbly, and the flour is looking like it's hydrated with the butter, so we're going to turn it off. And now we're going to transfer it to our pan. So I've used my famous parchment trick of dampening it in hot water, crumpling it up, and then it lines the pan really nicely. So we'll just give the bowl a stir. We want to make sure there's no bits of butter stuck to the sides. Looks pretty good. And then we're just going to quite literally dump it into the pan, and then we'll spread it out. It kind of looks like a crumbly mess, but rest assured, with a cup of butter, the butter's going to just fuse everything together nicely. Okay. You can use your hands to pat the mixture down evenly in the pan, or a spatula, which I find easy. Just going to clear off the stuck bits. And again, it doesn't have to be precise. I think the tradition of shortbread, certainly in places like Scotland, is hundreds and hundreds of years old. And fussy recipes don't always last that long, so there's something about shortbread. And then we're just going to get into the edges with our spatula to press them down. If they're sticking up too high, they're going to brown up too quickly, and the edges of the shortbread won't be as appealing looking. One last edge to go. There we go. Then we're going to take a fork and we're going to just poke the shortbread all over, and that helps to keep it from bubbling up in places. And you don't have to worry about it being a uniform pattern. You just kind of want to hit it all over. And again, don't worry if the top looks crumbly. We'll give it one more little pat. And it goes into an oven set to 325 Fahrenheit. And it takes, depends on whether or not you're using a fan in your oven, but anywhere from, I'd say about 25 minutes, give or take. I'm just going to give the top a pat. There we go. And we're going to pop this into the oven, and then I'll show you a fancy way to cut them after they're cooked and cooled a little bit. Our shortbread are ready, and I feel like I want to have a tea party. They just look so great. So the trick with these is when they're finished baking, you want to lift them out of the pan within, I'd say, 2 minutes of getting them out of the oven, carefully so that they don't buckle, and then lay the parchment on a cutting board. I've trimmed the edges off so you can see this. What I like to do is cut them into triangles because that's fancy. So I cut them in 4 by 4 to make bigger triangles. You can do 4 by 6 if you want. A big knife is great, or a pizza cutter if you have one, just to zip down those lines. And then you can see you've got these beautiful little triangles. They look so nice on a plate. You can position them kind of haphazardly, and it just beckons for a bite. So I hope you'll consider trying my minced crystallized ginger shortbread recipe the next time you're looking for a tasty treat.
I love how the British call the process of preparing sweets bakes rather than baking, and I hope these quick bakes will tickle your sweet taste buds as they do mine. Whether you make this fun air fryer pavlova recipe, these mini donuts, or these scrumptious gingery shortbread, you'll have dessert sorted in a jiffy.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
With Rogers TV, you can cheer on the home team from the comfort of your living room. We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch, so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
Are you a passionate content creator ready to expand your audience reach? Do you have unique